5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Join us as we inspire the world with the Jodi Inspire Show. What's up, everybody? Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. We are here. We're about to have a panel discussion about the crime and the violence in Columbus, Ohio. And we welcome you guys. So 1 second. So let me tell you guys who we have today on the panel. And if you guys don't know, my name is Jodi Ann with the Jodi Inspire Show. Thank you guys for joining us. And I'm going to ask for my guests to take this time to share this video without closing out, please. Without closing, to share this video to your page and let everybody know that you're on here about to be a part of this discussion. Also, if you're watching this video, I ask for you guys to please share this video so everybody can participate and be involved in the discussion. If you leave comments, I believe you have to 1 second, just so we're ready to get on. I believe you have to accept to be able to make comments or something like that, and then you can make a comment. So towards the end of the discussion, we're going to get to your comments, okay? So thank you. So while we're waiting for you guys to share everything, I would like to introduce our panel guests. We have Mr. Stevenson, Mr. End of Violence. We have Stu Hampton. Hold on 1 second. I think I'm losing my guest. Hold on 1 second. I got to put him back in. 1 second. Okay, and let's see. Make sure everybody is in here. 1 second, everyone, as I add people in. Okay, I think I have everybody in. Is everybody? Did I accept everybody's request? Okay, great.
Yeah,
I think everyone's in.
You hear me?
Yep. Ralph,
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Ralph.
Hey, how
Okay,
you
so
doing?
I'm just introducing everybody on the panel. So I'm gonna start all over. So we have Jodi Ann with the Jodi Inspire Show and Peace in the Streets. We have Stu Hampton, and he is a community leader, and they call him Mr. Not Mr. Mayor of Linden. We have Sean and Ephraim, and Sean is they're with Mr. End of Violence, and I keep losing. Hold on 1 second, we're losing them. Okay, you still there, Sean? We have Ralph Carter. We are Linden, and also we have Malissa Thomas-StClair, and she is a mother, and she's a mother that lost her child, and she is the founder of Mothers. 1 second, give me a second, because I always mess this up. Gotta make sure I do this right. All right, I don't actually have it. She is the founder of Mothers of Murdered Children in Columbus. So please forgive me if I messed up the name of the organization, but that's the name. So Ralph, at the beginning I ran through how we were going to do the panel discussion. This is actually my first time doing a panel discussion, so I'm a little all over the place. So first I introduced you guys, and now we're going to get to some of the stats, some of the things that's happening in our community, some of the crimes and the locations and the ages and things like that. So right now we have 1 second. I'm actually looking through my stats and information. So right now we're at 27 homicides, I believe. And 25 of them are African American, are Black. And some of these locations, we know that Linden has been hit really hard. We have Franklinton has been hit really hard. Some of these ages are, let's look at some of these ages. 1 second. All right, some of the ages. We're looking at 31 years old, 6 years old, 9 years old, 21, 19, 43, 62, 19, 21, 29, 18, 21, 31, 25, 31, 39, 14, 20, 22, another 22-year-old, 26, 38, 33, 28, 14, 51. So we have 6-year-old female, 9-year-old female, 21-year-old female, 29-year-old female, 26-year-old female, and the rest are males. And in some of these locations, one second, I'm gonna look at some of the locations. We can talk about some of the locations. One second. I'm sorry, I got my glass. Okay, so it looks like Southeast Columbus, West Side, Northeast Columbus, North Linden, South Columbus, Linden, West Side, South Columbus, Milo Grogan, Linden, Milo Grogan, Franklinton, Northeast Columbus, East Columbus, Southeast Columbus, Franklinton. Looks like Tuttle, near Tuttle Mall, East Columbus, Wedgwood, East Columbus, South Columbus. So you guys get the point. So, you know, I can't really say that these crimes and these homicides and things are happening in one certain area. It looks like it's happening all over the place, all over Columbus. And that's a little alarming that they're everywhere. They're all over Columbus. So I lost 3 loved ones last year to homicides. And they were separate incidents. They weren't related. And the fact that I lost 3 last year, and within 3 weeks, they were killed. And it's hitting, I'm saying, like, I don't think people should wait until the violence hit the doorsteps for them to get involved. We need people to get involved now. It's a real serious situation. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Sean Stevenson. And we're going to talk about what you see in the neighborhoods and in the streets and things.
Well, this is in all the neighborhoods I've been in. The young people tell me they're uncomfortable. They don't trust the police. They don't feel city leaders are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're aggravated. And they said they feel like they don't know who to go to, who they can talk with. I have one of the guys that we mentor here with us sitting beside Ephraim now.
So as far as the young guy that's sitting with you, my question to him is, like, how safe do you feel in your community, in the neighborhoods and the streets? How safe do you feel?
I mean,
speak up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I mean, for the most part, you really never feel safe because you never know what's going to go on. Even though I'm changing my life, and since I came across Sean and Ethan, I've been on the right path, but it can be old stuff that still can come to haunt me. You know what I mean? Just because I changed, I'm still in this environment. You know what I mean? Even if I change, somebody can still come back. So you never really feel safe. You just praying that you make it through to see another day.
So, one thing I've noticed with the homicides, I normally go to the victim's page and I look at their social media pages to get to know them. I look at their pictures. I look at their posts. I see that there's, like, always like 1,000, 2,000 people, friends and family, sending condolences and putting up their memories and messages and things like that. And then I also noticed that a lot of the young people in their little intro on their page have, like, rest in peace to, like, so many friends, like, or family, like, right there in the intro. Have you lost a lot of your friends and family to the streets?
Yeah. I mean, all my tattoos, basically my whole body, is rest in peace tattoos. If I take off my shirt, from the hands to the arms to the chest, it's all rest in peace tattoos.
Tell how many times you've been shot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been shot 5 times. I got shot in the face. Last year, I got robbed. I got shot 3 times. So, I mean, it's hard out here. It's tough. We don't got no role models. We ain't got nobody showing us nothing. We don't just decide one day to jump into the streets. We don't know what we signing up for. Yeah, I mean, we see the jewelry, the cars, the money. We don't have no mentors, nobody to show us nothing at all. And I'm 27. I've been in prison. I've seen everything. I've been to more funerals than anything. And I just thank the Lord that I was able to meet Sean and Ethan, because since I've been here, I've been on the right path. Yeah, I mean, God started to open certain doors. I don't mess with the same people. I don't sell drugs. I don't do none of that. I walk a righteous path. But just because I do that don't mean death ain't around the corner. We can walk up the street. We can walk up the street right now, and the police tell us to stop. And if we don't stop, they'll shoot us. So you don't know which way or where it's gonna come from now. Just because they see us, we in the hood, and we got tattoos and the way we walk, they judge us by that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, people talk and they say this, but nobody want to help except for Sean and Eve. These are the only ones that's helping.
So do people, when you're walking down the street, do strangers give you eye contact and say hi to you or wave or anything to you?
No, I mean, it depends. It depends on where we at. It depends on where we at, you know. So some people say hi, some people don't. So I mean, it all depends on what area you at.
Okay. I'm gonna toss it. I'm gonna come back to you, baby, but I'm gonna toss it to 1 second. Okay, Melissa's not here. Melissa Thomas-StClair is gonna join us. Next person I'm gonna ask that question to is Stu Hampton. And we're talking about the incidents and the locations and different things. And what you know.
When you, I mean, Sean, I'm just pretty much, you can only piggyback on what you're hearing, because it's pretty much the things that's being identified that's going on in the community. The gentleman that's 27 years old, I just had a conversation with a 24-year-old who came up to me and he told me he had just lost his best friend, known as him as a brother. I work for Marlon Gary Funeral Home. I bury them bodies, them numbers, the age ranges, and the tier of people that you just mentioned. I probably done help bury or help serve them families that you mentioned. So for you to mention them numbers, I'm probably one of them guys that help bury them numbers, which makes it even more upsetting to me, because working in a funeral home and just to see the bodies, the number of bodies, and some of the bodies that we, that's not even on count, Jodi, it comes a time to where we have to align ourselves with these young men. We have to find out what these guys, that gentleman right there, shouldn't be going through nothing like that. He's surrendering himself from the community of pain. We should be right there in this young man's corner right now, engaging with him right now and empowering him to help attach to the other guys, because he's not the only one. He's just the only one that's ready to come up and change his life. But there's some other guys that's willing to do it. But me and that's on this panel, other guys that's engaged with us, we have to be that antenna. We have to be that bait in the community and just come out and reach and understand these men, not what we want, this is what we got to stop doing. Stop preaching and telling these guys what we want them to do, what we want them to hear. Have an ear and listen to what the hell they got to say to us. Put your pride and egos to the side and listen to what these guys want to tell you. And you'll find out that they'll tell you, they'll be transparent and real with you.
Okay. Ralph Carter, would you like to answer this question?
I mean, pretty much everything has been said. Speaking from my experience, dealing with those individuals that have lost people. I mean, it's hurtful. I mean, I think it does as humans, period, if we don't share that empathy, just for just that. I mean, losing a loved one is hurtful, whether they're young or old, sick or elderly. It's hurtful. I myself personally, I process death differently than most. I can go to a funeral, I can bury a loved one and still go to work the next day, because processing that, because there's still lives that we still need to try to help not get there, regardless if it's gun violence or just personal illness. I think us as a people have to understand that, you know, death is around the corner, like the young man said, no matter what, for all of us. We don't know what may happen. You know what I mean? I may get up tomorrow and not, you know, I may get up or not get up. You know what I mean? I think for us as a people, we have to understand that we have to come together, because these young lives are out here dropping left and right.
Yes.
And we gotta be there. We gotta be that person in their ear and tell them, no, don't go, don't go that way. Go this way. Try it this way. I get what you're going through, because I myself have been through it. But you know, God and the mentors that have granted me to live another day. And not saying because the life is cut short, is because God said, you know what, I need to take you up out of here. You know, he calls his strongest soldiers home. And that's how I was always taught. So if I'm called home tomorrow, trust and believe that I know that I'm fighting an even bigger army. You know what I mean? But the way and the manner these young people are dying is very hurtful. No life should be lost by the hands of a gun. Right. We're not. It's not soldiers at war out here. This is not. We're not in Afghanistan, Baghdad, or wherever else they fighting these wars.
It feels like it sometimes.
Yes, it does, and it's very hurtful. And to that young man, I really, it really hurts to hear, and that's not the first time I've heard it, saying that they don't have no role models.
Yeah, I've had young people tell me that. They say they need direction and they need guidance.
Yes.
And they're not getting that.
Yeah, and that's hurtful. Me, myself, I'm only 35 years old. And I feel like I done lived 100 years just to see and hearing all these stories. I was raised by old souls. You know what I mean? So I have a different outtake on life. Sometimes when people hear me speak and talk to me, like, well, how old are you? You know what I mean? But thank God that I was around those people. But I want to be there and be that voice of them young people and say, listen, I wasn't too far from you. I was just headed that same direction. But I had that voice in my ear telling me, no, you guilty by association. You judge by the company you keep. So if you want to be around with those that want to choose to do that, knowing that's not what you want to do, that's not what I wanted to do. Now I may have sold drugs in past times, but that wasn't my ultimate end goal. I did that to put food in the house. I did that to buy me some school clothes. I didn't do that to have all the glitz and glamour and the fancy cars and all the women and the clout nowadays. I didn't do that. I didn't do that for that. And I got in and got out. So I'm sorry
not to cut you off, but I wanted to ask the other two that haven't been able to answer the question too. We have Malissa, Thomas-StClair. Can you introduce your organization? Because I always leave out the Columbus part. Can you introduce yourself in the organization? And also the question is, we're talking about the incidents, the locations, the ages of these crimes and the violence and the violence, the crimes, the shootings, and the homicides, and what you know from that perspective.
For sure. Hi, everyone on the panel. First, I've always got to give glory to God. He is ahead of my life. My name is Malissa Thomas-StClair. I am the founder of Mothers of Murdered Columbus Children. I appreciate you letting me say that, because so often Columbus is left out, and that's our signature. That's our niche. We look to spread out, but for right now, we want to service our city. I lost my son to the violence in this city. He was 22 years old, April 29, 2013. I am an educator with Columbus City Schools for 24 years. I have put my heart and soul into buildings that service our most vulnerable children to violence. That's where my passion is. What I hear the young man, I came in on the end. Young man, could you introduce yourself to me, please, sir?
He's just going by young man.
Oh, he's just going by young man?
Yeah.
Tyrico, you know what? That's a profound statement, and I appreciate you being real and honest about the lack of role models. Because here's the deal. I'm coming from this question as a parent who's lost a child to violence. But I also want to be that parent that takes ownership in why my son is not here. I was a 16-year-old pregnant teen. This is before the teacher. This is before the Christian. This is before the person who had growth, maturity, understanding about life. I was a 16-year-old child who had no idea how to be a mother. I did a disservice to my child. I was an absent parent. I was the one who wanted to be in the streets. My husband now, who is my son, past father, he stepped up and he was a man when I couldn't step up and be a mother. I have to be honest out here and say, mothers, since I am the founder of Mothers of Mother Columbus Children, we have to take ownership in why our babies is out here in this street. Are you deciding that you wanted to be a mother late in their life? Because here I am. I finally got myself together. I went to college, came back. My son was in mid elementary school, 5th grade, when my son's father and I got back together. I wanted to exert discipline on him. He looking at me like, shoot, woman, you've been gone for the majority of my formative years. But I still wanted to exert myself because I thought I owned rights to do that because I'm your mother, right? We have to take ownership. We have to stop saying, do as I say. No, they're going to do as they see. That's what's going to happen. And so when we are so absent, and you can be physically present in your child's life and be very absent emotionally, socially, all of those things, if they're fearful of you, there's a difference between having respect and unconditional love and you trying to rule the roost by just fearful discipline. That don't work. So when they feel powerless in the home, they go out in the streets and they look for that power. Because if you're powerless in your home, you're being bullied at school. Enough is going to be enough in their spirit. And guess what? They're going to figure out a way to have a voice. They're going to figure out a way to have that power that they feel so laxed in all of their facets of their life. And so many times it happens in the way in which, okay, I found a niche in which I'm making some money in my pocket. It's a powerful thing to hold a pole. It's a powerful thing to have a pistol in your pocket. That brings such an energy in you, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And what's happening is you take an unloved child that feels powerless, that has been so lost in all of the toxicity and disruption from early on. When they get to the streets and they find just that snap of interest of power, you've lost them. And then we try to shift blame onto them. So then it becomes, I disconnect from humanity. Nobody cares for me. When I take a life, who cares about that life? Because nobody cared about my life. So I'm coming on here as a plea to our mothers. Don't be like me where it's too late. Where my son decided he wanted to go sell promethazine, and that the man who took my son's life decided, okay, well, guess what, young blood? I'm 50 years old. You 22. You don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to stab you in your heart. I had to finally stop sugarcoating my son's murder and start to inhale my ownership in order to really heal my wounds to service other mothers and these young people who really only need unconditional love to detoxify all the trauma that they are dealing with.
Okay. Thank you so much, Malissa. And sorry for your loss. Every day, I never, I work with the mothers. I actually a few years ago started like a healing circle for the mothers, and because I felt like I wasn't a mom, I felt like I felt like a mother that should like take the lead of it. But I knew that the mothers needed that support. I knew that they needed that love. They needed that outlet. They needed, because there's not many places where they can go to get that support. Just like these babies that's out here in the streets, they're looking for support. They're looking for love. They're looking for support. And I got some information from today from one of my community leaders that a lot of these crimes are being committed by foster children. And she said the files are hitting her desk, foster child after foster child after foster child. And that may be something we can look into too. Maybe get with the foster agencies and find out, you know, what is it that they need, or how can the city or how can the community support them and their baby and the babies that are in there, the young people. And when they get transitioned out, they're starting to get the transitional homes for the foster, because when they age out, they don't have nowhere to go. They're just out in the streets.
That's
So,
right.
you know, and then they don't have no family. So now these babies don't have nowhere to go. Then they out in the streets. Like, what do we expect from some of these children? So I'm gonna toss the question to Tyrone Thomas. What are you seeing in the streets with the locations and the incidents of the homicides and the shootings and violence? How do you feel?
Jodi, first of all, I'm going to say to everybody on this panel, I know we've all lost somebody. And that's what drives me is the resolution or solution to just save one of our babies or one of us. And what we don't realize is you can be in Toledo, Cincinnati, or someplace else and feel like you're in Columbus based on who you're talking. So when you try to tie it all together, I hear y'all talking about role models. I hear y'all talking about giving advice. And one thing I've heard more than anything is don't be a hypocrite with my advice. Don't tell me not to do what you've already done because you're old and I'm young and I got to experience it for myself. That don't justify it, okay? That don't make it right. But stop and think about when you were young, whether it was 17 or 16, you wanted to know what was up. You wanted to know how this felt. In 2015, an incident made me realize that God got me. And if you don't remember nothing else from what I just said, God got us. Because there ain't no way we should come home sometime and wake up the next day judging on where we've been in the streets. So everybody go in the street for a reason. We have to find out to get somebody out of the street what it's going to take. The family has been destroyed in every place I go. You can go to a picnic in the park and find hurt sitting right beside you. We look at each other with the bitterness that we've been taught. And I'm not going to get into that slave thing because that's got to go away.
Tyrone.
Tyrone,
yep. Can I ask you a question? How do we heal hurt?
We have to don't be hypocrites. We have to talk about everything. Ain't nothing off limit. We have to look at what been done to us and being done to us now, and we have to talk to everybody in our family so when it happens to them, they can look for a resolution or a solution to get out of it without picking up a gun. See, I'm going to tell you something. If I pick up a gun, I'm going to shoot someone or somebody. The gun's there to protect my house. And if you come in my house, I will pick up my gun. But when I go out in the street, I'm not trying to be the boss or the bad guy. I'm not going to pull a gun on you. I don't even have concealed carry.
But
because
the
you don't
issue,
need
the
to.
Issue, Tyrone, the issue is not with the responsible gun owners. We're having issues with these kids, these young people that have the illegal guns, and they're the ones out here that don't follow, you know, the law and do the right things with the guns. You know, just using the guns to protect themselves at home or things like that. These guns are being used just to, I don't even know what to call it. Like it seems like a game or something. Like these guns are being used wrong.
The gun's not illegal. The gun is a part of what makes America America. The gun's how we got here. So the problem with the gun is understanding your position with the gun. Okay? It doesn't give you power. It gives you the right to destroy something. And so when you're trying to explain that to young people, they say, well, you old. You don't know. But I do know. When you've had a sawed-off shotgun put in your chest, you at that moment you got to make a decision. And Tyrone, if you're here to talk about it the next day, it's a wonderful thing. Now, before I know you got to keep moving, but here's what I want you. Here's what I want everybody, if they can get an opportunity to do. If you can get a hold to a detective and pick a certain crime in our neighborhood that they've recaptured the weapon, have him show you the history of that weapon. And if you look at the history of that weapon, it's going to blow your mind. That weapon's going to be on the north side, the east side, Linden, the south side. It's going to show you pictures of people that you talk to every day, people that you love, people that you embrace, especially people in the club and people in the drug trade and unfortunately the cigarette trade, because people, if a gun shoots someone right now and they capture that weapon's got a trail throughout our neighborhood. Right. It's not illegal. If it's got a serial number on it, it has a history on it. And when you look at the history, it'll tell you where to go if you want to go there. So a lot of times when I'm investigating and trying to find out information for a family, the first place I want to go is to the detective that's doing that. And if he's got a weapon, I want to see the history. And if he shows me the history, I can see those faces on the street.
Okay. Tyrone, I have a question for the young man.
And my approach to them. But my most important approach is not to be pathetic, not to be hypocritical, not to be judgmental, even though judgmental has to be in the picture. We judge each other every day, and we study saying don't judge me. It's not don't judge me, it's what you're gonna give me to help me do better, change, get out of condition I'm in. So when someone says to me, don't judge me, I cannot help but to judge you.
Right. Tyrone, I'm sorry.
Tell me what you need.
I have to move on with the questions. Hold on, we'll come back to you, okay? Okay. But while everyone's waiting, please make sure that your cameras or your not cameras, yours.
I'm not sure what happened, Jodi. The volume dropped like no place.
The volume dropped?
I can barely hear you.
Okay. You might have to leave and come back in, but everyone make sure that y'all's audio is muted so we can make sure that we can hear everybody.